Hey guys, welcome back to Sports Bar. And Chelsea hasn't been riding on a lot of luck since they lost to 1-0 to Arsenal and they lost a trophy final to Leicester City yesterday. They'll be hoping for a really great final against City in the UEFA Champions League. But as far as these games are concerned, they haven't been in a lot of form.
If you look back last week, when they defeated Real Madrid 2-0 in the second leg of the semi-final, everyone was talking about, Tuchel has done a great job. Tuchel has driven Chelsea from 9 to 4th, and probably, they are having one of the best seasons. They are on the road to win FA Cup. They are on the road to win Champions League, and there were all good times. What you can say, everything was good. The rainbow was flying over the Stamford Bridge. Everything was
Hmm.
colorful, and there were no problems. And suddenly, it we can say, against Arsenal it rained, and against Leicester yesterday it poured heavily down on them. So you can say that, 2-1 losses back to back. And if you look both at both those games, Chelsea were really dominating. I think so against Leicester, they dominated the first half, but again in the second half they fell a little bit short. And yeah, they lost two games, and probably, they are on the verge of probably losing the top four as well. So you can imagine, what if, Tuchel does his job, gets them to Champions League final, gets them to the FA Cup final. So they have lost the FA
Hmm.
Cup, what happens, if they lose the Champions League final as well as, they don't get the top four, what happens then, You can certainly say that Chelsea are about it, but I don't think so that's a possibility. Champions League is a different thing, where Tuchel will probably, do some changes and all. But again, these two losses will heavily hurt them.
Exactly. Chelsea also have a game to play against Leicester again,
Mm.
and if they go on to win the game and the other game as well, they might make it to the top four, which we hope they do. So
That
talking about Leicester City,
So
they
just
have
just
their
a second,
top.
just a second, just a second. That Leicester versus Chelsea game, on Tuesday night, that is a virtual qualifier for Champions League. Whoever wins that game, they are definitely going to qualify for the Champions League. Okay, continue.
Exactly. The race for Champions League next season is definitely on for both the teams, and the game has a lot of context. So
Mm,
moving on towards Leicester City,
mm.
how happy were you to watch them lift the cup? Because the way they were celebrating, it was just making people emotional.
If you look at the club overall, club in the sense, I'm not just talking about players and managers and directors or the board of directors and the coaching staff. I'm talking about club owner. I'm talking about fans. I'm talking about, all the people, those groundsmen and all those people, who are involved, making Leicester what they are. If you see the connection in between them, it's a pure connection. It's a very pure connection, and all of them, are very supportive of each other. If you can see that owner was sitting over there on in the stands, watching the game, and after Leicester won that game, he was probably crying, and there was a lot of support shown to their later chairman as well, who died during the helicopter crash outside the stadium. Just a few years ago, so you can see that Leicester fans have a great what you can say bond with the owner as well as Leicester players and manager as well. You can see after the game, if you search Leicester City FA Cup final celebration, you can see that
Hmm.
there are videos on YouTube, which shows that Brendan Rodgers and the chairman's son, they are both hugging each other. Players are enjoying celebrating with their owner. Owner is also happy and he's also lifting the trophy. So that shows the connection and the way that Leicester City has run. They are not a club; they are what you can say a family. Where there's a manager, players, fans, board. It's like a family. There's काफी close bond in between them. And if someone wants to start a new club, someone wants to buy a club, and want to see how to run a club, you should definitely look at the Leicester club. How they are running, how the project is handled. What kind of work they have done with it. So again, if you are looking to to buy a club or probably trying to start your own club, just look at what Leicester has done in the past 10 years.
Exactly. It's very heartening to see uh, players like Jamie Vardy to actually go on and win the trophy again,
Mm,
and their fans have been very passionate as well. And again, the owners you mentioned, very
mm.
beautiful. So next, moving on towards the next, we'll talk about the top four race in the Premier League. So you can go on.
So there was, a game between Manchester United and Leicester where Ole decided to build a sort of a
A new
young and
11.
experienced side, and every Liverpool fan, started crying over the fact that, oh, see, they are, ruining our chances and all, and this. they should face the ban, they should face a 6 point deduction, they should be kicked out of the Champions League next season. So I was, feeling very, it's funny, you cannot say that, they are playing this side, they are playing, a weekend side against Leicester. You can say like that about them, You also do the same thing, you also fielded a very weak side against Everton last year in the FA Cup, So again, you are undermining this, and they probably had, four games in a span of 7 days. That's very hard. It's not like cricket, where you play a game today, rest, and play a game tomorrow. It's not like that. The football requires a lot of physicality and a lot of your physical energy as well. And you
Correct.
probably, get down. You need at least one day of rest, pure rest, without even training, not even doing any work lifting. You need a pure day of rest, after you played a 90 minutes of football. You need a rest, and then after, they have to train. So again, it's very difficult to play football games in a compact, what you can say, in a close schedule. And Ole just decided to rotate his side because he knew there's a game against Liverpool coming up on Thursday, and again, no Manchester United fan would like to see Man United will lose against Liverpool. So he rotated that side, and they probably lost, which created more difficulties for Liverpool. But in the sense, Liverpool got some justice on Thursday, when they defeated United 4-2 at Old Trafford.
Manchester United.
So yeah, all their tears probably would have dried up after that victory over Manu. And yeah, it's really close. If you look at the points table, Liverpool with a game in hand have, I think so, 4 points over Chelsea right now. I don't know that points table right now, but again, if Chelsea or Leicester, if any one of them loses a game, then Liverpool are certainly in contention. To probably go over them and qualify for the Champions League. And other than that, I think so. West Ham's draw against Brighton yesterday means that they are probably out of the top four race and would not maybe qualify because they have only one game in hand. Sorry, they have only one game left to go in the season, and they are still 4 to 5 points behind fourth place, Chelsea. So I guess West Ham are out right now. So the only team that can go is Liverpool, and by an outside chance, we can see Spurs or maybe Everton. Just trying to make a top four race.
Exactly, but they would require a victory from here and there. And
Mm,
like you mentioned, the sport is very physical. You
mm,
require a lot of stamina. And I'd like to mention Luka Modric, who's been playing week in week out,
mm,
even though he's 35 years old. And yeah, the fuel in him is still running. We'll switch on to La Liga right now.
mm,
So we'll talk about how Atletico Madrid is on the verge of winning their second league title after 2013-14 season. It's the same manager, and
mm,
I think they have done a good job by sticking on to him,
mm.
trusting him, and he's definitely brought in the results as well.
Um, last year, do you remember, when we started the channel and we went past 100 subscribers and we posted a question tally on Instagram, asking people to send us question. And there was one question I remember: would Atletico Madrid win titles with Diego Simeone and the way they play? And I think so. We probably answered no because they were playing a little bit defensively. But
Hmm.
I think so. No, they have been playing it the same way this season, but there has been a difference. They now have someone. They have now Suarez in their team. Because a team like Atletico Madrid, if they are playing against some big clubs, they are not going to create many chances. They are going to create five or six chances, and you need someone
Hmm.
who can make those, who can what you can say, score a
Make those
goal in
chances
those,
count.
make those chances count. Yes, even though if you make less chances, if the player makes it counts, then again in you can score two goals in 5 6 chances also, and you can score two goals in 10 12 chances also. The clinical you are, the more better your team is. And with the addition of Suarez, he's a very clinical striker, we all know, in front of the goal. And the way he has scored those goals, Atletico are still playing a defensive game, but with Suarez in there, converting those chances, I think so. That was the key missing link, you can say. They had, if you look at back, in the 2013, 14, 15 season, when they were really good, they had Antoine Griezmann. Prior to that, they had Diego Forlan, who was again a great Uruguayan striker. So, they probably needed a striker, needed someone to finish those chances. Even though they create less chances, they need someone to finish those. And probably, with Suarez, they have got someone this season.
Exactly. With Suarez, they have strengthened their
Mm,
attack, and they are just two wins, or
mm.
rather one win
One
away
win.
from the La Liga title. So
I
Real
probably
Madrid would
thought,
be hoping that.
their game against Real Sociedad, I thought they would have probably lost it. But Colosseum, they have won it.
exactly. They had only one chance, that is against Real
Mm.
Sociedad, where they might have lost and things might have been difficult for them. But since they won that game, so games against Valladolid and
Mm.
Osasuna are relatively easy. And if Atletico does not drop points here, they are through. They are the champions of La Liga. And
Um,
so,
so
yeah,
we'll
you
move
can
on to
continue.
Barcelona now. They drew 3-3 against Levante, blowing up a 2-0 lead that they had. Your thoughts on Barcelona? Are you happy?
I just I just saw a post that Barcelona are probably signing Sergio Aguero from
Hmm.
Manchester City next season. But you know what I think is their defense is their problem, not their attack.
Hmm.
Even with lone Messi and a Dembele from one side, they can still go on to score about 60 or 70 goals in the La Liga season.
Hmm.
But with a weak defense, they can blow so many leads like they did against Levante. So if Barcelona strengthen their defense, then I think they have a good chance in the season ahead. But if they don't, then Barcelona will still be struggling
With
like
the
they're doing
addition,
right now.
of Aguero, I written a post last week describing Atletico Madrid and Barcelona game. So the reason I felt that they need a number 10, someone to play alongside Messi as a creator, because against Atletico Madrid only Messi was a creative force, and alongside Dash, who played really well. Or I would say, he was a driving force, when Barca had to move forward. Other than that, there was none of the attacking support. The players were just playing 5-yard passes, 10-yard passes, just passing it backward or sideways. So, you need some kind of penetration against teams, who like to have a low block. Again, a lot of the teams, other than I could say Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, even Atletico Madrid have a low block. So other than Sevilla, Real Madrid, all the teams are going to probably play with a low block or a narrow defense, which is very hard to break unless and until you have a big striker, whom you can head cross your ball into. So I think so. They need someone like a creative force, and with Aguero playing as a striker, I would like to see Griezmann playing just behind him as a number 10. Moving, all around the pitch. If Messi requires support, then he shall go to the right side, to provide cover, provide Messi, or maybe he can switch with Messi as well. Messi can come in the middle, he can go on the right. Aguero also, who likes to play as a winger as well. Even with the striker, so, if he moves onto the wing, to support the attack. Maybe Griezmann can move forward and play as a striker, temporary striker for 2 or 3 minutes or just for that attack. So I would like to see this kind of changes made into the Barcelona if they sign a striker, or even if they don't sign a striker and they go for someone like a creative force like Awar or maybe a number 10. Let Griezmann play as a striker, and let the creative force that number 10 play behind him. Again, talking about defense, their defense, you can say that their defense is aging and they need a proper overhaul in the defense, and someone like a leader, to lead their defense, because I think so. They had Oscar Mingueza against Atletico Madrid, and there's a player named Ronald. I don't know his name. I not follow La Liga that much. So you can see that their defense. Dest is also quite a young player who has just come from America. So you can say that their defense needs an overall, or maybe you can buy someone who's gonna put his stamp forward and say help them organize their defense so that they don't concede so many goals. Your mic is on mute.
PK's become old, so they
Mm,
probably need someone to replace him. So they need
mm,
someone who can lead their defense and who's someone as experienced. It's gonna be difficult for them to find someone like him
mm.
in the transfers window, but they'll be targeting defense. And yeah, talking about
They
attack,
just they just need
uh,
someone a first team player who can play as a center back or maybe as a left back.
correct. And
Mm,
talking about attack with Griezmann and Dembele and probably Sergio Aguero coming in next season,
mm,
Messi can also play the false nine
mm.
uh, position where he was really successful back in 2012-13 type season.
Maybe false nine would not be a good option because he's the main creative force in the Barcelona team, and playing him as a
Hmm.
false nine, who is gonna make those runs behind him? Aguero is not gonna make those runs behind him. He's not that much. Dembele can be an option, but I would just like Messi to just roam here and there, play everywhere wherever he wants, just to receive those
Hmm.
ball,
Hmm.
and play his natural game. Don't try to do new things. He's 34 now. We don't expect him to do such things right now.
Exactly. Messi only has a few years
Mm,
uh, left in his tank, and he'll be hoping to win a few more La Liga titles and
mm,
probably go on to win the UEFA Champions League. I've also heard reports about Barcelona trying to replace or wanting to replace
mm.
Ronald Koeman, which might happen next season. Who do you think is the best contender for managing Barcelona?
You know,
Providing.
at the start of the season, I was really behind that idea that Coman has failed probably, but the run they had from I think so November onwards, November December onwards, the run they were continuously winning those games, and it finally looked like that Coman has a what you can say knows who is his best 11, what is his best formation, what are his best players for certain positions. So and it looked all as though Coman had done a great job, but with two or three games or four games, there has been some distress. And Barcelona fans again, you if you are a Real Madrid or a Barcelona fan, you expect a trophy every year, whether it be a Copa del Rey or La Liga or Champions League. You expect a trophy. They already won a Copa del Rey, but
Correct.
again, they were in the driving force. They had that gaming hand again, which they lost to Cadiz, I think, 2-1, and failed to defeat Atletico. Again, they failed to defeat Levante, and just probably it was unexpected from Barcelona, as I thought Barcelona would make a late run, and with the game in hand they would easily go above Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. I probably thought Barca would win, but again, and the question of replacing, I don't see anyone replacing him right now. As a candidate, there are many, but not a big candidate, because Allegri was one who was free at the moment, but there are reports that Zidane is probably leaving Real Madrid at the start of the next season. So there's a report saying that Real Madrid are probably looking for Allegri to replace him as a Real Madrid manager, and maybe Juventus might sign Zinedine Zidane. It's not fixed at all. I just read rumors and all. So again, if you look at the market right now, who's going to be free this season? I think so. It's no one, and it might be probably some Spanish guy we don't know about, like Kike Setien or Ernesto Valverde. We don't know about who might sign for Barcelona.
Exactly, and like you mentioned, Zinedine Zidane might probably leave the Real Madrid
Mm,
team by the next season, and the guy who might replace him is also Real Madrid Castilla
mm,
manager, that is Raul, and
mm.
he's done a great job as far as the Castilla team is concerned. But do you think he will be able to do the same thing for Real Madrid, because La Liga is a different ball game altogether?
See, there has been, and I forgot one point. Barcelona are eyeing Xavi as the replacement, as Coman's replacement. So
Hmm.
maybe Xavi can become. And coming back to the Real Madrid question, there has been a trend, in recent time, where clubs are signing former players as a manager just to get that feel good
Hmm.
effect. And maybe this might happen. But again, I would go for probably Allegri, who has a lot of experience managing Juventus. He has one Scudetto over there, and probably that was the last time that Juventus were fighting for the Champions League. After he departed, there was just Juventus just broke up in the Champions League. So he has experience of managing a big team, as Juventus is also a big team as Real Madrid is. So I would probably go for Allegri, but I would not be surprised if Real Madrid appoint Raul as a manager.
Mhm. And since you're talking about managers, I'd like to mention Valverde.
Mm,
Valverde used to sit on the bench, and yet he used to win La Liga trophy for
mm,
Barcelona. Yet he was kicked out because they wanted that coveted UEFA Champions League. So
mm,
that's how the important the trophy is for all these teams. They really don't care that much about the domestic success, even though
mm.
it is important. They really want that UEFA Champions League
Yes.
trophy. Do you think that trophy might come back to Barcelona in the coming years?
We might have to wait 5 years maybe, because there is financial debt. We all know Barca in financial debt, and there has been just a change in the director sector. The Joan Laporta has just joined, so we can't expect immediate results from him. Just it's a step by step process, and Barcelona fans should be patient enough to go through all the steps to reach the Champions League final. And probably it might take 2 or 3 years, but in recent time there are Manchester City has become a powerhouse of European football. Bayern Munich, we all know Julian, even though Hansi Flick will be leaving them, we all know Julian Nagelsmann is going to be. destroying all
Hmm.
the teams with Bayern Munich. So then the PSG have become a certainly good squad with Neymar and Mbappe in it. Real Madrid, has performed really well in the Champions League this season. So with all the teams, coming up, uh, stepping up their game in the Champions League, it's certainly difficult for Barca to maintain to match those teams, and it will take time. But coming back to Ernesto Valverde, he was just 3 games away, from winning the Champions League, winning the Copa del Rey, and becoming invincible. Barca just lost. Do you remember the season when Barca just lost 1 game in La Liga and won the whole La Liga? So it was just
Yeah,
one
yeah.
game.
They got beaten by Levante 5-4, five
Mhm.
goals to four. So it was a goal fest. They could have easily won the game, but yeah, just one loss.
Just one loss. That one loss costed him the invincible title. That we gave to Arsenal.
Hmm.
So yeah, he was a great match, and Barcelona fans, would be probably crying, that we should have kept him just for the sake of
Hmm.
Champions League we have left. That is what the case with Juventus is. We can we move to Serie A now, because this.
Yeah, sure, you can.
So Juventus also, they sacked Allegri because he failed to win the Champions League. They sacked Maurizio Sarri, and they have now appointed Andrea Pirlo, which again I think so they are going to sack him. And probably, there's a report, the report I've heard a report, that
Hmm.
Zinedine Zidane might come back, might manage Juventus next season with, and create that Ronaldo link up again. So yeah, again Juventus, again we all know that, and again we know that they have fallen to fifth place, and probably, well, they've won against Inter last yesterday. So again, they are in contention of top four, but that this has been, what you can say, a disgraceful fall from the top of the table, from top of the Serie A.
Hmm. You know what, I feel that these big giants of European
Mm,
football are really impatient with their teams, with their managers, because when you're playing a league like UEFA Champions League with 32 other competitors,
mm,
it's very important for you to give your team, your managers, that one extra chance which they can take and probably make new changes, do some experiments, which
mm,
experiments would go on to win you the league. So it's a time taking process. I think all us fans and the management should
mm.
take it slowly and give them appropriate chances that would probably give them a big hand in long term, and not just trying to win the trophy every season, because that's really difficult.
If you sign a manager, you should probably look, to rate him after 18 months. Whenever you sign someone, you should probably wait 18 months, at least 18 months, to rate someone.
Two
If
seasons at
if
least,
they are
correct.
on a losing streak, losing against teams that they should be winning against, then it's a different ball game. But so when someone comes in, there's still, players are thinking about, players are trying to do the things that the previous manager did, and he has to come in, he has to wipe that slate off, write his thoughts on it, import his thoughts on it, import his wisdom on it. So players take a little bit time, tend to take a little bit time. So I guess, it takes at least 18 months to judge a manager, which as currently, not has been the forte for these big teams like Barcelona, or maybe Juventus.
Hmm.
Even Real Madrid, they stick with Zinedine Zidane. Even after last year they lost to Man City in the round of 16. They still stuck with Zidane, and he's probably, has taken Real Madrid to a close fight in La Liga, and he
Hmm.
definitely took Real Madrid to a UEFA Champions League semi-final. So that says that you should trust your manager. If he's not providing results consistently, he's failing the games. Like I said, he should be winning. Then you might think of, sacking him after 6 months or 8 months. But if he's doing a decent job, then you should probably wait for 18 months before rating his job.
Exactly. And since you talked about Real Madrid, the only reason why I think they stuck with Zinedine
Mm,
Zidane is because he has a record of uh, like 3 Champions
mm,
League peaks. So he had results to back him. This is why they stuck with him.
mm.
But if you
And
look at Lopetegui and
mm,
Santiago Solari, they sacked him after a few failures, and I
mm,
think that's not the correct way to do,
mm,
because managers tend to take time, and the players as well. It's not easy to adapt to a new system every now and then, because
mm.
when you do that, then you break the rhythm, and that actually does not help at all.
And it takes time to set the rhythm as well. Once you break something,
Correct.
it takes time to build as well. So they should wait.
Hmm.
And I just took the example of Zinedine Zidane. I know Zidane is one of the great managers. his approach in the game, and his ability to read the game is exceptional. That's why I said against the Tuchel. It was probably Tuchel outlasted him, but again Zidane went blow to blow against him, and he was not technically wrong, but some of the things that did not went his way, did not went Real Madrid's way, and that's why they lost.
Mhm.
But Zidane otherwise is a great manager, and probably Real Madrid should think about letting him what you can say is trying something to not let him go, because if he goes, then who are you gonna he's such a great mind. Any team he can take Juventus also to a Champions League final, and probably they can win Champions League final with his help as well, even without signing any players. Such a great manager he is,
Mhm. Exactly. Both as a player and as a
as a
manager, he's
manager.
been very good.
Mm,
So yeah, we are talking about Serie A, and
mm,
you mentioned that Juventus beat Inter Milan
mm,
3-2. I saw the game.
mm,
It was I mean it was 2-all till the 85th minute, and then the goal came from the Juventus side, and they are still in the top four race. So if Napoli loses against Fiorentina, then it's going to be tough for them and going to be good for Juventus because they are at the fourth position right now.
mm. If Juventus would have probably dropped point in yesterday's game, then I think so it would have been game over for them. No Champions League football next season. But again, that 85th minute winner proved to be that could prove to be the savior of the season for Juventus. And
Hmm.
as for Inter Milan, they did not need anything. They were just there to play their football and show that we are the champions now. So
Hmm.
they're gonna my eyes are on the next week. When AC Milan would face Atlanta, and that probably would might be if Napoli wins today's game against Fiorentina, then the loser of that AC Milan versus Atlanta game would probably miss top four, because Juventus would probably win the game, Napoli would win the game. So the loser might, that can come down. As I said, Chelsea versus Leicester is a virtual qualifier. This one is also a virtual qualifier as well. This one you can say as an eliminator as well. The winner goes, whereas
Exactly.
the loser gets eliminated from the top four race.
Exactly. So Napoli is playing Fiorentina right now, and they are 0-all tied in the 32nd minute. I think it's too early to probably predict a winner, but
Mm,
we'll go on to next. We'll talk about AC Milan,
mm,
who are at the third place, and they might as well go on to play in the Champions League next season. And I'm really excited to have them back into the league because the last time they played, I mean, I don't remember. I was a really small kid, but to have them back in the league, it's going to be amazing. And that would probably give them a boost because they've got
mm.
7 UCL titles, second highest.
Again, I also don't remember when was the last time I saw AC Milan playing in the Champions League, let alone be in the knockout stages of the Champions League. But again, AC Milan, the fall they had was really disappointing. And nowadays, people are saying that Barcelona are probably following their suit, and we might see Barcelona fall to such. I know I can see a laugh on your face, a little laugh on your face, by hearing that Barcelona might fall to the level as AC Milan were. But again, this has been an exceptional ride, and again, I cannot, probably, AC Milan fans could probably, couldn't thank enough Stefan Pioli, who has created this bunch of players, who can challenge against Juventus. They can probably, maybe, fight for Scudetto again next year. They were in the race for Scudetto, but some reason happened and they fell down below Inter. So next season, if AC Milan continues to keep this form next year, we can have Inter Milan, AC Milan, Atlanta, Juventus, and probably AS Roma with Jose Mourinho signing in for them. We probably might see a five-way race for the La Liga, for the Serie A title. It's gonna be just an awesome Serie A season next year.
Exactly. And I've heard a quote that Rome wasn't built in one day, but it was destroyed in one day.
Mm,
So we'll move back in time, back in 2007 when AC Milan won the Champions League
mm,
trophy. It was like people thought that AC Milan can never be stopped, but later on they could not keep up their winning
mm,
streaks. They lost in the Champions League. They could not keep up their form in Serie A as well. They ended up being a mid-table team, but now they've risen up. So they've definitely did a lot of work in for their team, and I'm really happy for them. To tell you, it's my second favorite team. So to have AC Milan back in the Champions League would
mm.
really mean a lot to me and a lot of fans in Italy as well.
The quote that you said, Rome wasn't built in a day. that would be, Jose Mourinho's favorite quote. Whenever he loses a game against
Exactly,
Sampdoria,
correct.
he would just say that Rome wasn't built in one day, and it would take a time again. So, jokes apart, again, next year Serie A is gonna be, what you can say, a huge league to watch out for, and I'm probably gonna, follow Serie A next season, from next season as well. So yeah, watch out for Serie A.
Exactly. You know what? When AC Milan won the league back in 2007, it created a havoc in Madrid as well.
Hmm.
That's what led Perez to sign Ronaldo, Kaká, Benzema, and all these players
Hmm.
because they were hopeful for another UCL title because the lead was narrowing. They were at 7 and Real Madrid were at 9. Real Madrid did take a lot of years to win another Champions League, but by then AC Milan had fallen and it became easier for them to win. They ended up winning four more.
Hmm. That's a great thing. You said that AC Milan winning the Champions League in 2007 caused, was the reason to for Real
Havoc.
Madrid to create all the Galacticos team. Because
Hmm.
that was the era of Galacticos, you can say. When whoever you signed for Real Madrid, they were called Galactico signings, like Beckham, you can say Ronaldo, you can say Raul and all. So yeah, that's you can say that's a domino effect. One team winning probably causes the other team, to increase their game,
Hmm.
and that is football. That is what football is. You have to step up your game anytime. You can't take, just take an example of Leicester. Everyone was, they were in the League Two a few seasons back. 7 or 8 seasons back. They were struggling in the championship, and now they are fighting for top four, and probably don't know after 3 or 4 years with the kind of a system that they have, kind of a business model that they have, they might probably
Hmm.
fight for the Premier League title as well. Who knows?
Exactly. We might expect them to go on to win Premier League titles in
Hmm.
the upcoming season. And we also hope that they provide a lot of competition in the European football as well in
Hmm.
this particular decade. Where you mentioned Barcelona is probably struggling. It will take a lot of time for them to rejuvenate themselves. But with a team like Barcelona, I don't think that's going to be difficult for them because they have a lot of financial support. Even though they are struggling financially right now, they're a huge club. They have a backing of their fans, and
Hmm.
I don't think it's going to be very difficult for them to rejuvenate their hopes,
Hmm.
and they might actually go on to win a few titles as well.
So we are running out of time. I just wanted to kind of continue on one more thing about the DFB
Hmm.
Pokal Cup that happened last week on Friday. So Dortmund defeated Leipzig in the DFB Pokal Cup final, and another trophy for Dortmund as well. So do you think that Sancho and Haaland might leave Dortmund next season?
Yeah, I mean, I read a lot of news that Haaland is probably leaving the team, but if I were Dortmund, and
Hmm.
then I would really want him to stay because he's doing that job, and the only way uh, the dominance of Bayern Munich could be ended is by letting these teams continue their seasons with these players who are doing really well. They do well for one season, then they sell them, then they buy another players, then they do well, then they sell them again. So I don't think that system is going to work. Uh, for Dortmund to
Hmm.
dethrone Bayern Munich, they should uh, keep both Haaland and Sancho for upcoming seasons. And if they do that, then we'll see a new winner in the Bundesliga league as well.
There has been a lot of people trolling Bundesliga saying that by all the clubs are just a club, all the clubs are just academy for players, for Bayern Munich players, future Bayern Munich
Bayern
player.
Munich, correct. Hmm.
So yeah, play they should probably stop feeding Bayern Munich their best players and start what you can say, fighting for the Bundesliga title, because it just
Hmm.
becomes boring to watch Bundesliga. It's such a beautiful league, and but the statement that Bayern Munich wins it every year just ruins the fun of
Hmm.
all the Bundesliga, because if you look at the attacking players that they have, it's just amazing, and the kind of football that I like to watch. You can say that Premier League is a very physical based, so Bundesliga you can say is a very attacking base, and they would create a lot of space, to attack into. So there would be not flair like players like that La Liga has, flair players who
Hmm.
dribble past 3 or 4 players to score a goal. You will not see that in Bundesliga. They like to create those
Hmm.
spaces. They like to pull the players out of the defense, and create space behind them, or between the center backs to for the striker to run into. So it's that kind of a league, and it's beautiful to watch it. But just just this statement that Bayern Munich wins it every year, ruins it all. And I would like to see all the other teams fight for a title. Not don't sell their best player to Bayern Munich, fight for a title. Coming
Correct.
back to Dortmund, and Haaland and Sancho. Sancho might stay in the Bundesliga, but there has been a lot of reports that Manu wants to sign Sancho, Liverpool wants to sign Sancho. So we probably don't know. And by Dortmund, we all know they have a history of selling their best players to Bayern Munich, and or probably outside as well. We know they sold Dembele to 120 million to Barcelona. They sold Robert Lewandowski went to Bayern Munich on a free contract.
Bayern
So
Munich.
and Mino Raiola, the agent of Haaland, has said that if Dortmund don't sell Haaland this season, then next season he becomes a free agent, and he would play. He said that I would make sure that Haaland would play for Bayern Munich next season if Dortmund would not leave Haaland this year. So again, they should they should become a club that likes to they should not become a business model where you are just buying things for
Hmm.
cheaply and selling them for a huge price. You are a football club. You are not a company who's trying to make some profits. Just try
Correct.
to spend some money. Try to retain this player, and then you can see that the money that you get is just a one-time money. But with you winning the titles, you competing for the Bundesliga, you competing in the Champions League, would mean that you
Hmm.
would gain that income steadily, and you would probably gain it for a lifelong term. So one firm decision by Dortmund board would probably save their whole, would probably become a blessing for their whole lifetime, as I guess.
Correct. And like you mentioned, if Haaland does not leave this season, then
Mm,
next season he will definitely play for Bayern Munich, like
agent.
like his manager said,
Mm,
and that would again make Bayern Munich even more strong team. They already are a very
mm.
strong team. That will make them even more strong. And we all know how Haaland likes to perform in the UCL, even with
Mm.
Dortmund 10 or 12 goals per season. So
So
it would
yeah,
be
again.
easier for him to score more goals and
Mm.
very easy for Bayern Munich again.
So yeah, they should probably stop doing that and probably look into this matter, or at least sell him to some other foreign league, maybe to the Premier League or La Liga. Foreign league they don't sell.
Hmm.
In Premier League, teams don't usually don't sell players to their teams of their own league. And if they're selling, if for example, Leicester are trying to sell Jamie Vardy to a Premier League team. They might ask 40 million out of them. But if you are if they are trying to sell it to some team from La Liga or some team from Serie A, then the price comes down. It's because they don't want to sell the players to their own competitors. Even if they go outside,
Hmm.
it's well and okay. You can go outside, but to their own competitors, you know you cannot strengthen your opposition team. So
Correct.
again, Dortmund should look to do that thing as well. So yeah, that's my whole thought on that process.
And that's what we have for you in today's video podcast. I hope you liked it, and we'll come back with next video in the next week. Peace out.
Peace out.